morning. So I've been teaching mindfulness in corporations and in universities and in schools. And whenever I first ask participants what it is that they know about meditation, they respond with the top myths about it. So what I'd like is just to demythify mindfulness and show that this is a practice that is accessible to anyone, anytime, anywhere. So the first myth is that when we meditate, we are supposed to have our minds empty of thoughts. Right? Now, when we meditate, we can have a torrent of thoughts. And the practice is simply to notice when our attention has moved from feeling our breath and drifted into thinking about whatever. In that moment, we can make the choice to respond to our thoughts just by noticing them, as if we were noticing a cloud floating by. I don't judge it. I don't identify to it. I just notice it and bring my attention with kindness back to my breath. And this is important because later on in the day, when we realize that our attention is thinking about things that's making us feel depressed or anxious or angry, that we can catch it. We can come back to the present, come back to the breath, where we find the space and the clarity to make a conscious response to that situation, rather than a fear-based, habitual reaction. Another myth is that when we meditate, we are supposed to feel all calm and cool. Yes, no. Yes, no. When we are meditating, we are learning how to be with the full spectrum of emotions, and how to express them in ways that are not harmful towards ourselves and those around us. And finally, Grace, the myth of there's no time to meditate. Well, how about starting with just 5 minutes a day? Try it out for a couple months, see what happens. So there is an amazing quote about this by Viktor Frankl, who was a psychologist and a Holocaust survivor. And he said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom." So scientists have defined this secular practice of mindfulness as the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, with kindness, with curiosity, and with acceptance. And acceptance here simply means that we acknowledge what is present. And it's just that attitude of acceptance that is actually quite contrary to the habit that most of us take when we are dealing with our suffering. What do we tend to do? We deny it. We suppress it. I used to make myself numb to it by eating until I felt sick. We just push it away. But when we learn our mindfulness, we learn how to be with our pain and say, "Hello, my pain. I know you are there, and I'm going to take good care of you." And it's this quality of heartfulness of compassion towards ourselves and others that is the key component for the healing and the transformative benefits of mindfulness in our lives. Because our thoughts and our emotions have a direct impact on this mind-body, on our physical and mental health. That's why when we are nervous, when we are stressed, when we are angry or upset, that we can't think straight. You know, we say or we do things that we immediately regret, right? We go blank before our exams and hopefully not before our TEDxMontrealWomen presentations. But what's actually happening is the primitive part of our brain, the amygdala, is responding to that stress the same way that it did hundreds of years ago by putting us into the fight, flight, or freeze mode and inhibiting access to the other parts of our brain that are responsible for our memory, our perspective taking, our executive functioning, our empathy and compassion. So when we practice mindfulness, what we're doing is we're actually regulating the nervous system so that we can get those other parts of the brain back online and make better choices. And there's actually 35 years of medical and scientific research that has a long list of benefits of mindfulness for our health. There's over 700 hospitals worldwide that have mindfulness programs helping people with depression, with anxiety, with chronic pain, helping us to build the resilience and the well-being that we need to face the stress that life gives us. And I got something else for you. Meditation has been linked to increased lifespan, as was proven by Nobel Prize winner Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn. In this study, telomeres, which are repetitive DNA on the end of our chromosomes that actually protect our chromosomes from deteriorating. And when meditation was conducted twice a week for 3 months, the telomeres had lengthened. And lengthening telomeres is linked to increased lifespan. So what do you say? Do you want to try just a short practice with me now? Yes? What a sport. All right. So I invite you to close your eyes or leave them open with a soft gaze. And notice all of the places that your body is being supported by your chair. And then notice, without judgment, if the muscles of the body will release any tension, perhaps in the eyelids, between the eyebrows, the jaw, the shoulders, the abdomen. And then bring your attention to feeling your breath, wherever that's easiest for you. Your abdomen, your chest, your nostrils. Just feeling your breath, moving all the way in and all the way out. Just rest in your breath. And when you notice that your attention inevitably gets carried away into a thought, you just notice it, label it as thinking, and with kindness, come back to feeling your breath. And now bringing to mind someone who makes you really happy, or some animal, or some place. And think of whatever kind and supportive words that you would like them to hear, and say those words silently now. Notice how you feel. Now I invite you to send those same friendly words to yourself. And finally, you're invited to extend those kind and supportive words to everyone who is with us today. Noticing how you feel. And now moving into a tradition of TEDxMontrealWomen, we'd like to invite you to set your intention for this great day of sharing together. What would you like to experience? Perhaps it may hold the qualities of mindfulness, such as, may I meet this moment fully. May I meet it as a friend. And as you come back to feeling your body on the chair and your breath, you may open your eyes as I leave you with a few lines of a poem by Dana Folds. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still. And just like that, something in me settles, softens. And I remember again that life is not a relay race, and that waking up to life is what we are born for. Thank you.